A sword sheathed in ice, metal submerged and distorted by water, a symbol of untapped power. This pillar, the Geng Zi, carries the gift of non-conformity. Wait, you say, is non-conformity a gift? Of course, if you know how to use it, like New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. Welcome back as we continue our series on the 60 pillars. Thank you for watching. My name is Pauline Cheng. I am a life coach and I use Chinese metaphysics to empower, not to disempower. Okay, now let's see what picture Geng Zi creates, all right? The Geng Zi combines the execution power of the Geng metal with the shrewdness of the Kui water hurting officer. Another way to look at this pillar is to visualize the Geng metal as a sharp mind and a pragmatic approach to life, and the Kui water as a deep sense of curiosity. Either way, this combination of yin and yang in one pillar can result in a rather perplexing combination of traits. Stubborn and irritable, but also generous and soft-hearted. In other words, the Geng Zi personality is one that can be rather difficult to decode. Hence, the reputation as an eccentric non-conformist. Okay, but at the end of the day, a Geng metal is still a Geng metal. This is an element of toughness. You are naturally goal-oriented, ambitious, and have the innate willpower to become energized in the face of roadblocks and setbacks. In other words, you're not easily deterred. Okay, but where does the non-conformity come in? Now, according to, I did some research on this. According to a psychologist named Dr. David Wicks, these 5 traits are present in every eccentric person. So let's see how these 5 traits stack up against the natural attributes of your Geng Zi, particularly your Kui water output star. Firstly is the non-conforming attitude. Check. Seated on your own hurting officer star, the Geng Zi will naturally be more vocal and rebellious against the norms. Okay. Secondly, motivated by curiosity. Check. Again, the Kui water is nothing but infinitely curious. Creative. Check. The hurting officer, being an output star, brings street smarts and creativity to this equation. The fourth one, idealistic. Check. Idealism is the cornerstone of the 2 output stars, eating God and hurting officer. And lastly, opinionated and outspoken. Yeah, hurting officer, anybody? So it's now obvious that your Kui water hurting officer is the one thing that brings a lot of the non-contrarian attitudes to the Geng Zi. Okay, so what are the vulnerabilities? The red branch, being a rather restless and volatile body of energy, makes the Geng Zi a little bit more impatient than the rest. There are traits here that suggest you crave external validation and instant gratification. There is a constant need to feel appreciated. And when you don't get that external validation, your self-confidence starts to falter. When that happens, you kind of get all suspicious and defensive. So, but here's the problem. When we depend on others to build us up, we give them the power to break us down. Agree? Instead of waiting for others to appreciate you, why not learn to appreciate yourself? Easier said than done, I know, but try. Okay? So how do you present? Larger than life, of course. The Geng Zi naturally fears appearing weak and insecure to others. So you tend to mask those internal insecurities by doubling down on the external persona. The first impression you give others may be one of a diva-like personality with a touch of arrogance. I know this sounds negative, but guys, it's divas who accumulate fans. So therefore, learn to work this to your advantage. Okay, so there are, of course, pros and cons to non-conformity. First, let's examine the advantages. Psychiatric studies have found that eccentrics or non-conformists tend to be happier individuals. The logic is that when you no longer march to the beat of other drums, when you don't measure yourself against the yardstick of others, the person is naturally happier in himself or herself. The price of non-conformity, however, will be the loss of security and social acceptance. If this price is too high, a good way to unleash the power of the Geng metal is to learn self-discipline and the willpower to take action. You see, the hurting officers can be a bit of an all talk, no action type of stuff. So the Geng Zi is at its best when you are fired up with motivation as you commit to a goal. The basis of this suggestion is to use focus and direction to further hone your natural talents as a Geng Zi, and instead of wasting your potential on rectifying petty obstacles. In other words, learn to change what you can. Let go of situations that you cannot alter. Okay? But as I said earlier, this is merely a suggestion. It is to be deployed only if you, the Geng Zi Day Master, feel that there is a need to enhance your power. To me, there is no harm in being a nonconformist. As long as your eccentricity doesn't hurt anyone else, a bit of nonconformity, when used deliberately, can signal strong self-confidence and greater competence. I distinctly recall when Facebook or Metaverse boss Mark Zuckerberg wore a hoodie to meet investors before Facebook's first public IPO or public offering. Now, how's that for positive non-conformity? Of course, whenever a day master sits on your own hurting officer, the classic text will have plenty to say about this scenario. Most of them negative, especially when it comes to the marital happiness of a female Geng Zi day master. But let's not forget that these classics were written on the background of a society that is deeply infused by Confucianism and pluralism. Today, society's acceptance and admiration for eccentrics have changed for the better. So you're a tad bit eccentric. So what? Okay, so that's it for the Geng Zi. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Before you go, one final caveat. Without the ability to see your full chart, I stress that the suggestions in this video are broad recommendations based on a single pillar only, and that is the day pillar. Are you a Geng Zi Day Master? Well, find out when you plot your chart. There's a plotter link in the description. If you have a question, that's what the comments are for. Otherwise, until I see you in the next video, be like the Geng Zi and please help me share this video to all your eccentric friends. Or at least just like and subscribe. Until I see you next time, thank you for watching. Bye.